is Carol Pak. I'm the founder and CEO of Sur, which is a company that I founded in 2017 to really promote Korean alcoholic beverages. And the idea was always to start importing and showcasing and building our own brands, with our first being Màkku, which is a modern interpretation of Makgeolli, Korea's oldest alcoholic beverage. The main three ingredients in Makgeolli are rice, nuruk, and water. The idea of brewing and finding a recipe wasn't scary to me. I have brewed beer before, I've brewed hard tea before, I've brewed kombucha before, and I was just like, well, let me just figure out what the ingredients are and I could try brewing something at home. But I first wanted to have some kind of target flavor profile. When I went to Korea, I tried as many makgeolli brands as I could to find what I thought would be ideal for the American market. There's kind of different scales of makgeolli, so it could be really, really watery, it could be really, really thick like a yogurt, it could be super tart or not tart at all, it could be super sweet, and the last kind of key point is the earthiness of it that comes from nuruk, which is the fermentation agent. While I loved that flavor, I thought maybe it's a little bit too funky, and so I was like, all right, well, let me find something that is very true to what an authentic makgeolli is. Then I started just brewing to try to meet that flavor. That's when I realized, oh, there's no recipes that I can look for. There was maybe, I think, 2 available online, but I would follow that and it just some batches wouldn't even, ferment, and I was like, okay, Mom, I need your help. I think she found fun in brewing makgeolli, and I think maybe 3 months of really rigorous brewing, we found something that we were happy with. And then the process came to find a brewery in the US, and I had already done this with other products before, and I was like, how hard could it be? The issue was with one of them, it just didn't taste good. We found a brewery in Maine and the batch came out much better, but the issue there, and same as the other brewery, there was no equipment to actually go past making the liquid. And that's when I was like, okay, well, we can just bring in a mobile canner and pasteurize ourselves, and then that kind of made our first few pallets. But the issue is that our cans started exploding, and I've already kind of exhausted my options in the US. So I went to Korea, and I had already visited some breweries before. There are only 3 breweries in Korea that we know of that can makgeolli at scale. Lately, in the past decade, there was a genuine push from the younger generations and wanting to learn more about their heritage and embracing Korean culture, and I think wanting to pay homage to what's actually Korean. These people are being more interested in brewing makgeolli and learning about the history. I think with that comes a lot more wanting to preserve the traditional process. There's 2 different makgeolli markets here. One is the mass commercial makgeolli brands that export to other countries, and they're pasteurized. The other is fresh, draft, unpasteurized, live makgeolli that's very short shelf life, hand brewed a lot of the times, small batch. The mass imported ones, they have been around for decades, and they're very, very affordable and accessible, but in exchange, they're not using real steamed rice, and they're also adding rice flavorings to enhance the rice flavor, and they back sweeten with aspartame. We knew that in America, clean ingredients are very important. It's important for me, and so I wanted a real rich rice flavor that's very clean, and then also to not use any fake sweeteners. The main 3 ingredients are rice, nuruk, and water. It's really important to clean all of the impurities and the outer layer of starch from the rice. When the water runs clear, that's when it's ready to steam. At the brewery, there is equipment that is steaming 3 tons of raw rice. And then when it's cool enough, we add water, nuruk, and rice into the fermentation tank. And then every 2 hours, we're agitating. And then After 2 days, after 48 hours of adding the first batch of ingredients, we'll do another round, which is kind of like a second fermentation stage. And this increases the complexity of the product as well as increases the ABV. It makes it a little bit sweeter. It does make for like a deeper flavor profile.
사실 이렇게 술들을 제가 하게 된 이유도 그때 제가 먹었던 것들은 이제 한두 종류밖에 없었어요. 근데 저게 제가 전국 여행을 다니다 보니까 너무 많은 술들이 있었고 이걸 좀 어떻게 여러 가지 먹는 게 너무 재밌어서 어떻게 하면 좀 다양한 곳의 양조장을 한 곳에 술을 이렇게 모아서 팔 수 있을까 고민했던 게 제 첫 매장이었던 것 같아요.
예전에는 좀 나이가 많이 드신 분들, 연령대가 높은 분들이 드시는 술이 막걸리라는 인식이 강했는데 지금은 젊은 친구들이 칵테일이나 뭐 하이볼 같은 걸로도 만들어서 먹기 시작해서
That trend has been building for, say, the last 5 years. We've seen it slip into like Michelin restaurants, pairing programs. We've seen a lot of bottle shops. A lot of just dive bars are bringing on nice bottles to have some variation in their, what would other be like, you know, bottom shelf sips. In Japan right now, there's a boom towards non-pasteurized, cloudy sakes, right? Doburoku. And you see the amount of players that need to be involved to share the passion. It's contagious, so it's a time game. We'll get there, but we're definitely on the cusp of it. Between a takju, so I guess we.
Basically, most signs were like, there's no market for makgeolli in America, and don't do it. But I think I was just kind of, wanted to shut that all out, and I was like, well, it's because they don't know that they need it just yet. Or I will make the market. And so I was very stubborn about that. When we first came into America, we were classified as a wine. And so we had to work with wine distributors. We had to go into wine retailers. And I remember sampling Màkku at a wine store, and everyone was kind of like busy Friday, Manhattan, Chelsea. Going in, they know what they want. Getting a red wine for this dinner party. And I was just trying to be like, hey, try this cold canned refreshing 6% alcohol. It's like, not right now.
Not the 6 before, this is the 12. Okay.
Consumers want to know, when do I drink it and how do I drink it? And it just feels like a lot on our shoulders for someone like me. Like, how do I dictate that? And how do I educate? Because I don't have the answer to that.
If you're a new brand with a totally new category that no retailer has seen before, you're gonna run into a litany of obstacles, of course. It's unproven, you don't have any stats, but here you are in the US trying to pitch it. We had Màkku all by itself for in like the Beyond Beer section, so we made the decision to make sure that it was part of like, rising tide. Want an Asian shelf in our import section. Like that is a trend we know exists, and we wanna support it and stay ahead of that. And even if it remains just Màkku for a while, it gives us a chance to establish this as an actual category.
Every time I've had doubts or consumers have doubts about us or even investors, when we say, oh, Whole Foods carries us, then everyone is like, wow, that means you're accepted by Americans, and that's a stamp of approval in terms of quality.
Beer it's everyone's product. There was a very early point on when I was managing the beer category, and I said it out loud. It was like, if I go to another brewery and have a conversation with a dude in a flannel, like, I don't know, like, what else is out there? I think just giving Carol that exposure in our stores is where you start and how you build, and then, hopefully we do have a category, and then she can, through that, maybe we open some other doors for other suppliers like her to come in, and then maybe we have like 2 brands on the shelf.
I've had so many interactions where I felt so dismissed and so looked down upon or laughed at, and I was kind of like, I'm a very well-educated, like, have so much experience, and why do I have to feel like I'm living in shame, or why do I have to feel like I'm not just like financially stable? Like, how all of my classmates are and why did I choose this hard path. But I think what kept me going is I'll get an email, I'll get a DM about how I changed someone's life. It helped me connect with like my father. I don't really talk to him, but then like we had a Màkku together, or thank you for sharing our culture, or oh, you inspire me as a female founder. I feel seen by people who need and want this drink. And I feel like, where am I gonna find this fulfillment elsewhere? And of course it's hard. Of course, like, what did I set out to do? Sometimes I still don't understand, like, oh my God. But it's like, okay, well, you're still having fun and you're still making change, and it's much less hard than last year. So going in the right direction.